What if the heaviness you feel in your legs isn't just aging, but a silent signal that your body is asking for something simple, something it remembers, something it once had every morning without question? The truth is, the older we grow, the quieter our strength becomes. It doesn't vanish. It fades gently like a favorite song you haven't heard in years, until one day you realize walking up the stairs feels slower. Rising from the floor takes a moment longer. The groceries feel heavier, even though they're the same. You pause, you notice, you wonder if this is just how it goes from here. But here's something most people don't realize. These changes don't always come from getting old. They come from something more specific, more reversible, more within reach: muscle loss. And muscle loss, though it may arrive in silence, doesn't have to stay. There is a food so ordinary, so overlooked, that it holds a power many doctors have quietly known for years. It's not exotic, it's not expensive, and it's not part of some miracle diet. It's just the egg, a single egg, one of the most complete and accessible foods for rebuilding strength after 60. Not because it's trendy, but because of what it contains: pure, usable protein. Amino acids arranged in just the right balance. Nutrients designed to nourish not just your muscles, but your nerves, your brain, your hormones. Think of your body as an old but faithful piano. It has played beautiful music for decades, but time has loosened its strings. The notes aren't as clear as they once were. What it needs isn't a replacement. It needs the right tension, the right tuning, the right materials to bring its sound back to life. That's what an egg is to the human body after 60. A string tightener, a daily tool for repair, a way to remind your muscles how to sing again. Dr. Peter Attia, one of the voices reshaping how we think about aging, speaks often about protein distribution, how, as we age, our bodies don't process nutrients the same way. We need more of the right amino acids at the right time, not just any protein, efficient, usable, digestible protein. Eggs offer exactly that. They deliver what aging muscles crave in a form the body knows how to use. But this isn't just a lesson in nutrition, it's an invitation. Because strength doesn't disappear, it drifts. And with the right support, it returns. In this video, we'll explore what makes eggs so supportive for the aging body, why some people eat them but still don't feel the benefits, the most common mistakes, and most importantly, how to start using them in small, consistent ways that bring back strength, stability, and confidence. There is a path forward. It's quiet. It's simple. It begins with one choice, one morning, one egg, and from there, everything begins to shift. There's a quiet misunderstanding that follows many people into their later years. It doesn't scream or warn. It simply shows up in the details of a day. A breakfast that's too light to matter, a lunch that's rushed or skipped, a dinner that's finally satisfying, but too late to help. And through it all, something important slips through the cracks. The body's call for the raw materials of strength. Muscles don't just need movement, they need nourishment. Not all at once, but steadily, rhythmically, as the day unfolds. Yet many older adults unintentionally adopt a pattern that starves their muscles of exactly what they need to remain alert and responsive. Tea and toast in the morning, a bit of soup in the afternoon. By the time the heavier meal comes, the opportunity for repair has narrowed. Muscles need more than a once-a-day apology. They need presence. They need to be remembered. Beneath this habit is often a quiet fear. A question that rarely gets spoken. If I eat more, will I feel worse? Will I gain weight I don't need? Will I upset something inside that already feels delicate? The hesitation is real, but so is the truth that aging muscles aren't just fading on their own. They're waiting for you to feed them what they recognize. And among all the choices, few are as powerful or as forgotten as the egg. One egg carries something extraordinary: leucine. It's an amino acid, but it acts more like a messenger. It doesn't just sit quietly in the body, it flips a switch, a signal that says, repair the muscle, rebuild what was lost, stay ready. The older we get, the more leucine we need per meal to send that signal loud and clear. And eggs contain that leucine in a form the body recognizes instantly. Research from the Mayo Clinic confirms this. The presence of leucine-rich foods early in the day can make all the difference for muscle maintenance in older adults. This isn't about quantity, it's about timing, about presence, about listening to the body's rhythm and speaking its language. But there's something else, something many still fear: the yolk. Years of outdated advice have left a shadow around this golden center. But inside the yolk are nutrients that matter more than most people know: choline for nerve function, selenium for cellular repair, fat-soluble vitamins that support hormonal balance. The yolk isn't the problem, it's the missing half. It's the partner that completes the egg's ability to nourish not just the muscles, but the mind and the movement that connects them. This isn't theory, it's something you can feel. And the most beautiful part is, it starts with something so simple, so gentle, so familiar. An egg, soft scrambled with a bit of spinach, poached over tender vegetables, hard-boiled and sliced into warm oatmeal with a touch of seasoning. One egg, maybe two. First thing in the morning or in your first true meal, that's enough to remind the muscles they still matter. Think of it as a reset button, not just for your day, but for your strength. Each time you begin with an egg, it's as if you're whispering to your muscles, "Stay with me, I still need you." That whisper becomes a rhythm, and that rhythm becomes a quiet kind of confidence, the kind that steadies your step, the kind that holds you upright when no one is watching, the kind that lets you rise from a chair without effort and feel like yourself again. There's a quiet shift that happens inside the body as the years pass, one that isn't often discussed in loud clinics or crowded waiting rooms. It's subtle. You notice it when a meal that once comforted now lingers too long, when fullness arrives too soon, when the thought of eating something heavy feels more tiring than satisfying. The truth is, digestion changes, and with it so does the way we absorb what we eat. As stomach acid naturally decreases, it becomes harder to break down certain proteins. The foods that once made you feel strong can now leave you feeling uncomfortable, sluggish, or simply uninterested. And so, without realizing it, some people begin to avoid protein-rich meals, not out of choice, but out of quiet discomfort. And slowly, the very building blocks of vitality begin to disappear from daily life. But there's something about eggs, something that makes them different. Their proteins arrive already prepared in a way the body understands. They don't demand as much from the stomach. They don't resist absorption. In fact, eggs have one of the highest biological values of any food, meaning the body can take what it needs from them with almost no waste. For someone over 60, especially someone who struggles with heavier foods, this matters deeply, because nourishment doesn't help if the body can't receive it. And even then, not all eggs are created equal in their preparation. The way you cook them, the way you treat them, can mean the difference between irritation and ease. Soft cooking methods like poaching, gentle scrambling, or lightly steaming help keep the proteins tender. They make digestion smoother, quieter, more cooperative. Heavily fried or overcooked eggs, on the other hand, can become rubbery and dense, asking more from a stomach that already feels fragile. There are gentle routines that can bring eggs back into the lives of those who've grown hesitant around food. A soft-boiled egg, mashed gently into warm vegetables. A lightly scrambled egg with a splash of almond or oat milk to keep it smooth. A bowl of egg drop soup where warmth meets ease, and nourishment arrives in a form that soothes instead of overwhelms. And for those who feel full too fast, spacing meals with intention can allow digestion to work without stress. This isn't just theory. It's something many have quietly discovered on their own. A woman, 78 years old, who had lost interest in meals. Her appetite fading, her energy thinning, her movements slower. But two small changes, adding a softly cooked egg in the morning and again in the afternoon, brought her back. Her appetite stirred. Her steps became steadier. Tasks around the home felt less daunting. It wasn't dramatic. It was gentle. It was enough. There's something deeply respectful about food that meets the body where it is, not where it used to be. Eggs offer that respect. They don't ask much, but they give enough. Enough to support the return of appetite, energy, and movement. Enough to bring back a sense of normalcy in a world that sometimes feels like it's moving farther away. And sometimes, enough is exactly what's needed. There's a moment many people recognize, but rarely speak about. You go to step off a curb, and your foot hesitates. You reach to turn, and your body doesn't follow as quickly as you expected. You pause longer before moving, not out of fear, out of caution. And beneath that hesitation is something deeper than balance. It's connection. As we age, what fades is not just physical strength. It's the quiet link between the brain and the body. The signals that once traveled instantly now take a little more time. Memory begins to blur, but so does movement. The ability to react, to stay steady, to trust your own coordination, these are things we often take for granted, until one day they ask us for more care. This connection depends on something few people know by name: choline. It's found inside the yolk of an egg, and its role is vital. Choline helps your body produce acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter that carries movement instructions from the brain to the muscles. Without enough of it, the signals slow. The body stutters. Not because it can't move, but because it didn't hear the call in time. And yet choline is one of the nutrients many older adults fall short on, not from neglect, from habit, from years of avoiding the yolk, from a lack of awareness about what the body needs now, differently than it did before. When choline is present, reaction time improves. Balance becomes steadier. The invisible thread between intention and motion becomes stronger again. But this isn't just about nutrients. It's about rituals. Simple moments that nourish both the body and the signal that guides it. Imagine starting your day with a warm plate, an egg softly cooked, ready to support not just your muscles, but your coordination. Now pair it with a few steps in place. A slow head turn, an ankle circle to wake the feet. These small movements combined with intentional nourishment create a rhythm between the nervous system and the muscles. A quiet dialogue that says, "We're still working together." Think of it like tuning both the violin and the violinist. Strong strings alone can't make music. The hands that play must be attuned, responsive, alive with awareness. The body is the same. It's not just about building strength. It's about restoring harmony between the signal and the action. Eggs in this sense are not just fuel. They are a form of communication, a way to say to your body, "You are still connected, you are still whole. Let's move together again." That message, sent each morning, each gentle bite, each mindful step, becomes more than nutrition. It becomes healing. And from healing comes the quiet return of trust in your own body. Not all strength is built in grand gestures. Not all progress is made through transformation. Sometimes what matters most is repetition. Quiet, steady, deliberate, like watering a plant each morning, like placing one stone beside another until, one day, you look up and realize a wall has been built. The same is true for muscle after 60. It doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for consistency. What many older adults don't realize is that inconsistency quietly chips away at progress. One day of good protein intake, followed by 2 days of light, low-nutrient meals, sends the body mixed messages. Muscles need daily reminders that they still matter. They don't grow from the occasional feast. They grow from the repeated offering of what they need, gently, reliably, respectfully. This is where the idea of the muscle clock begins to matter. Muscles don't wait until the end of the day to do their work. They listen for signals throughout the day, morning, midday, evening. And when those signals come, in the form of amino acids, the body knows what to do. Studies have shown that older adults who spread their protein more evenly across their meals, rather than loading it all at dinner, maintain better strength, better balance, better resilience. Not because they eat more, but because they eat more intentionally. There is something deeply freeing in knowing you don't need to eat large portions or complicated meals to keep your body supported. 1 or 2 eggs, added with quiet purpose, can be more powerful than a plate of food that overwhelms and tires you. The power lies not in the quantity, it lies in the rhythm. A simple approach can make all the difference. 1 egg at breakfast, 1 at lunch, or 2 eggs early in the day if the appetite fades by afternoon. Or maybe 1 egg nestled into a savory dish, another in a warm bowl of soup or a simple custard. These are not rigid rules, they're flexible rhythms, rhythms that honor your body's needs, your hunger, your comfort. Each time you include an egg in your day, think of it as adding a brick to a wall that protects your mobility, your independence, your sense of self. Some days you add 1, some days 2, but each one counts. Each one contributes to the structure you are still building, a structure made of choice, of care, of quiet devotion to your own well-being. And as the days pass, that wall grows, not overnight, not loudly, but certainly, until one day, without thinking, you stand from a chair more easily. You lift the groceries without hesitation. You move through your home with a kind of calm authority that surprises you. That is what slow strength looks like. That is what repetition creates. And that is what one simple food, repeated with purpose, can help you rebuild, day by day, bite by bite. There's a quiet kind of strength that isn't built through force or effort, but through rhythm, through the kind of repetition that doesn't ask much, but gives back everything. At a certain age, we begin to understand this, that health isn't a dramatic change. It's a quiet return to what supports us, what stays with us, what works, without noise or pressure. Eggs are one of those things. Simple, familiar, but more powerful than they appear. For someone over 60, they offer something rare, reliable support for muscles, nerves, and balance. Not in theory, in the body, in the way you feel when you stand up without struggling, when your hands don't hesitate, when you move with more steadiness than the day before. Muscles, like all parts of us, respond best to what they receive regularly. Not to large amounts every now and then, but to small, consistent signals that say, you still matter. Protein needs don't disappear with age. In fact, they become more important. But what matters just as much as the amount is the pattern. A little, again and again. Not just at night, but early, midday, whenever the body is ready to use it. One egg in the morning, another later on, or two at once if that feels easier. This isn't a rule, it's a rhythm, the kind your body already understands. And when it's followed, not perfectly, just consistently, something shifts. Strength returns, not with fanfare but with function. You get up more easily, you walk with more calm, you feel a little more present in your own body. The nutrients in the egg, especially the yolk, help more than just muscle. Choline supports brain signals. Fat-soluble vitamins help with hormonal balance. These aren't extra benefits. They're part of what makes an egg a quiet ally in aging. And they work best not when they appear once in a while, but when they become part of the background. Like the kettle you put on without thinking, like the walk you take without needing to explain. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara once said that the body is like a team of faithful workers. They don't need to be overwhelmed with food, they just need regular support, something they can count on. That's what eggs can become. A small gesture that says, I'm still caring for this body. I'm still here. Dan Bettner found the same pattern in places where people live longer than anywhere else. It wasn't complicated diets that sustained them. It was the repetition of simple foods that offered real nourishment, not on special days, on ordinary ones.